Hey ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we are going to be talking about Ripple and XRP, as well as the vast majority of crypto and finance. And with that being said, I hope that you are all having a beautiful day or a beautiful night wherever you guys are out there in the world. Now, going back to May of 2023, we did see, of course, Medico and Ripple converge. Ripple acquired Medico for $250 million to really kind of target that $10 trillion opportunity by 2030, aka institutional crypto custody. Now, a great thing to look into this for is the fact that it was $10 trillion just for the custody market. Think about how large crypto will be by 2030 if custody alone is worth $10 trillion. But also, the crucial thing to mention here is the fact that this is when we start to see a big push on the institutional side. And Ripple, they want to become the all-in-one umbrella around payments, liquidity, custody, everything. Now, why am I bringing this article back up? Well, because we recently seen back in December, Adrian Tsunami, the founder and CEO at Medico, put out his prediction. Now, I did address this on the channel, but now that we are in 2024 and we are starting to see some traction right now from the institutional side, we do have to look back into this. So his prediction was, as the industry looks to leave behind the problems it experienced during 2023, a new paradigm is emerging. The crypto industry isn't courting financial institutions as it once was. It doesn't need to. Global banks and industry giants are actively seeking digital assets solutions to satiate client demand for efficient, transparent, and on-demand financial services. In the last year, we've announced partnerships with several global banks, and in 2024, we expect adoption rates to continue to soar. Banks are experimenting with tokenized assets and need to be able to do so with confidence inside the framework of strict compliance and security protocols, as well as smooth integrations. Now, as we look at this, right, a big focus of mine is actually HSBC. Remember how large HSBC actually is. Back in November, they tapped Ripple's Medico to launch a security token custody platform. This was huge. And again, we've talked about securities. It's going to start with securities. Tokenization of securities is huge though, because there is quadrillions of dollars per year settled with securities. And the big thing to mention is that this is going to be starting in 2024, this year. The bank expects to roll out the new digital asset custody service in 2024, complementing its digital asset issuance platform known as HSBC Orion and HSBC offering for tokenized physical gold, launched on November 1st, 2023. Together, the services form a complete digital asset offering for HSBC's institutional clients, the firm said. And this is a big development. This was huge. I talked about it on the channel on how big HSBC actually is in terms of the giant it is in the institutional space. But again, why am I bringing this back up? Well, because we just recently seen this post by Medico at the end of December. If there's one thing left to do before 2023 ends, that's booking your seat for our live Medico talks with this individual who is the head of digital and data in the Asia and MENA region at HSBC Security Services. As we'll be discussing the institutional value chain of tokenized securities. This is going to be happening on the 11th of this month. And here we have the institutional value chain of tokenized securities. If we scroll down, we can actually see that this is an individual that has been at HSBC since 2018. He has been instrumental in pioneering the digital asset strategy for HSBC Security Services business and has led efforts such as HSBC Digital Vault. And also, this enables investors to access the digital records of their private placement investments, as well as the pilot tokenization of real-world assets with the Singapore Stock Exchange. His work in developing capabilities over the last 5 years has helped establish HSBC as a leader among financial service providers in the digital assets ecosystem. He is engaged with clients and financial market infrastructure providers to create solutions for custody, issuance, and even asset servicing of digital assets and tokenizing traditional assets. He believes in a future where all assets are programmable assets, bringing a step change in efficiencies to the asset servicing ecosystem. And prior to this, he spent 10 years at the Bank of America Merrill Lynch in various leadership positions in global markets technology and securities operations transformation teams in Asia. And we also have the host down here. This is the chief growth officer at Medico. He has an extensive domain expertise in investment banking, wealth management, commodities, and crypto markets that spans market structure, regulations, and technology. He spent 20 years building and managing trading operations across all the global financial centers with JP Morgan, Deutsche Bank, Barclays, and even the Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Again, pay attention to these events because this gives us a glimpse on what's happening around the institutional side of things. Everyone thinks that the Bitcoin ETFs is what to focus on. No, this is much larger than that. And I've talked about it many times in the past. But again, this followed by this announcement is what I'm really getting at. This is HSBC to take on Wise with launch of money transfer app. Now, mind you, HSBC is heavily tapping into Medico, which is now owned by Ripple, who is streamlining payments, providing on-demand liquidity. They have been focused on cross-border payments for well over a decade, and now we have HSBC launching this new money transfer app. HSBC is looking to take on money transfer behemoth Wise with the launch of a global currency conversion app. It will also have a debit card with it as well. It's going to launch in the UK initially before worldwide rollout. But also, we see it's a bold move for us. This is HSBC playing outside of its traditional parameter of customers and really attacking, if you want, of taking advantage of a contingent, which is big, is growing, looks like us, and it's here for us. The app will be available on Apple App Store and also even Google Play Store. This is going to be a pretty large platform, in my opinion. And we even see down here that Zing has a global ambition. We want to establish ourselves as a global platform for international payments, which ties perfectly with our international payment strategy for HSBC. And you should see us very soon in Asia, in the Middle East, and even in the EU markets. It says that Zing was founded by the bank's head of FX and payments, James Allen, and has been registered as an e-money institution. So this is definitely very interesting. Like I said, it comes at a very significant time in the market because HSBC is heavily tapped into Medico, which is, like I said, it's a Ripple company practically. But also remember with Wise, right? There's been a lot of connections with Wise. Just recently, back in September actually, we've seen today from Swift, we announced a new collaboration with Wise to increase cross-border payment options for financial institutions and their customers. By joining forces, payments sent securely via Swift will be able to complete seamlessly over Wise with end-to-end transparency. Collaboration and innovation to overcome fragmentation are central to our mission to enable the seamless flow of value around the world. And cooperations like this allow Swift customers to leverage their existing infrastructure to reach the services of their choice securely with data integrity and end-to-end transparency. So this is definitely interesting. But what's crazy about this, right, is that outside of this collaboration with Wise, I mentioned back in September as well that Wise probably isn't using Ripple and/or XRP, but they are tapped in with Tranglo, which Ripple owns 40% of. I love the idea of domino effects within this space where one partnership could expose certain assets to hundreds of companies. Swift is working with Wise to increase cross-border payment options. I believe Ripple was forced a few hands in the past and continue to demand Swift to innovate. I don't look at Swift as a competitor to Ripple and/or XRP, but more so I look at Swift as needing to adapt or die. Joel Katz, David Schwartz said that Swift could benefit greatly by tapping into RippleNet and making banks pay them to use the service. Will this happen in the future? It's possible. And here you guys actually have Tranglo. Again, thousands of businesses, including global giants like Wise, Alipay, and even Payoneer, leverage Tranglo's cross-border payment solutions daily to help millions of individuals across 70 countries transact. And we know Tranglo, like I said, is owned by Ripple, 40% of it at least. And Tranglo does utilize on-demand liquidity or Ripple payments that does leverage XRP. But outside of this, we also had a report, and this goes back in time a little bit. This was last year, May of 2023, reimagining the future of finance. And this is actually from the Boston Consulting Group, the same group that said that tokenization is going to reach $16 trillion. They do mention Ripple in here after mentioning Wise. For example, here we have while payments led the last era, B2B 2X and B2B are expected to lead the next. This is cross-border payments. We have at the bottom there, cross-border remittance businesses such as Remitly, Wise, and Zoom have increased access to international money transfers. As globalization advances further, the need for better cross-border payment solutions will increase. It's also wise to build redundancies into the system for occasions when main payment rails encounter problems. DLT, once proven fully viable, could significantly disrupt this space. Blockchain companies such as Ripple, via its RippleNet payment network, are already working on partnerships with various financial institutions and payments providers around the world to facilitate real-time cross-border payments. And remember, right, as we really look at real-time payments, we now have a big spotlight on this sector. The FedNow service is a big one that really kind of forced the hand to target real-time settlement. I've talked about this many times in the past, right? Like we have instant payments. Real-time payments happen all the time. For an example, I could send a transaction on PayPal and the receiver can receive it almost instantly. The problem is the settlement layer. Settlement is not instant. This is why we look at blockchain and DLT, because this technology can allow for instant settlement to become a reality. And remember, the cross-border payment industry is projected to be worth $250 trillion in the next 3 years. Think about that. Only specific percentages of that market, right, could create a massive tsunami of value for the big players that are already at the forefront of this disruption. And remember who the main player is that is always being mentioned in terms of disrupting the cross-border payment space. Ripple. Now, outside of this, they also do spotlight Wise, right, because of how big Wise actually is. They have already operations in 170 countries, supports 50 currencies, serves more than 5 million individuals and 300,000 SMEs in a profitable way. They thrived because they have major players tied to them, like for an example, even PayPal. But outside of this, right, when are we going to see these companies like Wise tap into instant settlement? Because again, I mention this because instant settlement now is becoming a big spotlighted focus point use case around crypto. Even with the FedNow service, they are leveraging third-party players through APIs. I've talked about this with RippleNet in the cloud. That is an API solution. But it's very interesting that we are now seeing the big moves underway, and now it's a competitive landscape. And HSBC is even confirming that over here by saying now we are actually attacking because it's now a competitive landscape. And now I do believe we are going to start to see big players like Ripple being leveraged around instant settlement payments. Because again, we have real-time payments. We don't have real-time settlement. Nobody wants to wait 3 to 5 business days anymore. Yeah, sure, you could receive that payment instantly. It doesn't settle instantly. Like I said many times already on the channel, the second that we have payments settling instantly, we are now in the future of payments. And I do believe that that's what's going to be happening this year. We are going to start to see big players like, for example, HSBC, possibly leveraging DLT and blockchain to achieve instant settlement. And once we have one player do that, a wave of institutions is going to come. And the reason why I say that is because this is a very competitive landscape. There's $250 trillion at stake here. Currently speaking, I think that we're over the $156 trillion current market valuation that they have on it. It was $156 trillion back in 2022. I don't know how much it's worth now, but they are projected to have cross-border payments be worth $250 trillion by 2027. So there's a lot of money here, and it's a huge market. And I do believe that the best-in-class payment technology, which in my opinion is DLT and blockchain, is going to be the big thing that everyone is going to be looking at in terms of technology. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on because of more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord in the description below. And with that being said, guys, it's been Nick. Peace out.